Okay, so today we'll work on one program. Okay, we'll create a program with the help of function modules, and we'll see in how we are going to use function module in our program for validations and to implement the business logic. Okay, so how we are going to create and how we are going to call the function modules. For now, let's assume we don't have any standard function modules available to support our functionality, whatever the functionality we are implementing, right? So for that reason, we need to create custom function modules, right? And we'll also create one program and call those function modules in our program. We'll see how we're going to call function modules for each requirement, each purpose. Okay, so let's create a first we'll analyze the requirement. So let's assume this is a program on PO data, PO data report. What it will contain, a typical program, what it contains? What it contains? Selection screen, right? First thing is selection screen. What are the inputs for this program? So what are the inputs? So let's assume I'm going to take company code as input for the program. What is the technical field name of company code? Hookers. So this is my selection screen, or if you want more fields in the selection screen, you can add, right? And now, so we have initialization part. If you want to pass any default values, you can pass in the initialization part. And validations, right? We need to validate the data, right? We need to validate the inputs. Okay. For data validation, for input field validation, what we are going to do? We are going to use a function module, reusable function module for validation of the company code. Okay. We are going to create one function module to validate the company code, and we are going to call that function here, right? So that company code validation function module will be here. And then we have business logic here. For business logic, instead of writing select statements or join statements within the program, we are going to implement a function module. Okay. Or we can say data selection. Data selection. So here we are going to call one more function module. Select PO data and will display the output at the end. Okay. Once we selected the data, we will display the output at the end. For this, we'll create one function group, a special function group related to PO function modules, purchase order related function modules. We'll create one function group, right? So from this function group, we'll call function modules wherever required. Whatever the function modules available in this function group, we're going to call the function modules in our program depends on the requirement. If we need to validate the inputs, so we are going to call that specific function module into PO data report. Is it clear what we are going to do? Is everyone clear on that? What is our requirement? So let's assume this is the task assigned for you in the project. Okay. So your customer wants a report, PO data report, which contains company code as input. They wanted to see all the purchase orders created by that company code. Or if you want to add one more input, you can add. And this is a parameter input. Okay. So these are requirement. And let's see how we are going to implement it in a project if this task is assigned for you, right? By using whatever the modularization concepts learned as of now, right? We can also use object-oriented class methods here, but still we did not enter into the topic. Once we completed it, I'll show you how to implement object-oriented programming in place of function modules, right? So is everyone clear about the requirement? Everyone should be able to understand this. If you still have questions, please let me know. I'll explain one more time. Let's assume this is your task assigned in your project. So a PO data report. Okay. That's what I'm saying. Let's assume we don't have any standard function module available. Okay. I'll show you how to find the relevant function modules. Okay. So for your question, you can just check in SAP blogs also. If you don't know what is the function module that is suitable for specific requirement. Okay. Or you can search using stars, right? For example, since this is a purchase order data report, you can just try get star purchase order star and click on F4. It will show all relevant function modules, right? What is the other way? What are the important tables for purchase order? EKKO, EKPO. So you can check the where is list, right? Where these, and you can select in where is a list, you can select function module interfaces instead of programs and other objects. So it will display all the function modules where this EKKO or EKPO table is being used, so that by going through the function modules, importing and exporting parameters and the source code, you can decide, okay, is this function module is suitable for my requirement or not. Okay, let's say there is a function module, so it is returning the PO data, right? It is returning the PO data, but the input of the function module is created date that is already available. So is that function module suitable for our requirement? No, right? Because our input is company code. So the requirement is input function module should accept the input and return the output. Like here our input is company code, but the existing function module is not accepting company code as input. So that is not suitable, right? So you have to analyze it, right? In that way. We have different approaches to find. So let's assume we don't have any standard function module available, right? And you got this requirement. So what is the first step here? Can you tell me what is the prerequisite? What is the first steps to start this development? Hmm, right. Create the function group and create the function modules, right? Then only you can call those function modules in your program. Prerequisites are to create the function modules, right? Function group may not be mandatory. Creating function group may not be mandatory, because if there is any existing function group, you can just use that existing function group. Correct? Creating function group may not be mandatory every time. Shall we start with creating the function modules? What is the transaction code? C37. First, I'll create the function group. Let's assume we don't have even a function group. Create a function group. Z. This is purchasing is related to MM, right? We'll use like this. ZMM underscore. Someone already created. Okay. Group. Okay. MM underscore group. Whatever the objects created for material management related objects, where I'm going to use the same function group going forward. Okay. Provide the short description. What is this? PO data FMs. Save. Now, what I told you, we're going to handle this task as a project object, like whatever the project as whatever the task assigned in your project. So, are we going to select local object in the project? We're going to assign to a specific package, right? So that will be provided when you join in the project. So what is the package you need to assign, that you have to check with your team. Okay. So click on save. I've selected this package. Click on save. Can we add that to this transport request? Can we add the change to this transport request? It is proposing a transport request. Can we add to this? No, because it is someone created it. We don't know like what is the, even since we are using the same group, same username, everyone is using same username in this training server, because many people are going to create different objects, right? Even let's assume it is your own transport request created for different functionality, a different application. Can we add our current object to this transport request? No, we have to create a separate transport request. For example, there should be a naming convention. Even see, for transport request descriptions also, we should follow some naming convention as per your project. I'll follow like this. MM, since it is related to MM module. Okay, I'm not saying every project is going to follow the same order, but I'm following naming convention which is convenient for me. MM underscore task 200 slash, this is the first release one. Is it a new development or defect we are fixing? New development, right? So I'll use like this E means enhancement. Okay, E means enhancement. If it is a error fixing, it is a defect fixing. In support projects, the application is already there and we are fixing some error, I can use D means defect. Clear? Now PO data report, my transport request description is ready. Click on save. So I'm going to save my function group in this transport request. Now we need to activate, right? Check the function group, ZMM underscore group, go to display. Is this active? And you know how can you activate this? Just simplest way is go to SC80. Right click on the function group and activate in SE80. So the function group is activated now. Close the SE80 and go back to your function module. So now how many function modules we need? We need two function modules, right? One is to validate the company code. The other function module is for business logic, right? To get the PO data. Now create the first function module for company code validation. It's a demo validate company code. Create. So sorry, ZMM underscore group. Save. Continue. So what is the input for this function module? To validate company code, what is the input for this function module? Company code number, right? We need to pass the company code number. For example, I underscore bookers type data element. Single value input, that is variable like input, right? Clear? Is everyone clear? Or if you want to know the exact data element, go to the table. T001 is the table for company code master data. So bookers is the data element. What is the output? So what is the requirement for this function module? No, what is the requirement for this function module? What I am creating now? To validate the company code, right? So then why we are going to return PO data, purchase order data? The functionality of this function module is just to validate company code. So it should return, is it a valid function module or not, right? So we can do that in many ways. We can return sub RC value, or we can return company code value itself if it is valid. If it is not valid, I'll return blank. Exporting parameter will be empty. Or I'll return sub RC value. Whatever the sub RC I got in the select statement, I'll pass it, I'll return it as a output. So that you can check the sub RC and understand, okay, is that company code is a valid company code or not. Export. For now, I'll return the sub RC value, okay. E underscore sub RC. In the next example, we'll see how can we handle in a different way. What is type of sub RC? S5 hyphen. I'll use this. Okay. Now what is the value it can handle? Sub RC value, whatever the 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, right? Like that. Okay. Go to source code. And is it a mandatory input or optional? Company code. Company code is a mandatory. Now go to source code. So I have input. I'm passing company code as input and returning sub RC value as output. How can you validate the company code? How can you validate the company code value? How can you say whatever the value you provided is a correct value or not? How can you say that? How can you validate the value? Hmm? Okay, that's first kind of validation. We are going to check whether there is any value or not. How can you know that value, whatever the value entered by the user, is a correct value or not? We should, right. Yeah, by using select statement on check table. What is the check table for? What is the master table or check table for company code T001, right? If the value is available in T001, that means it's a valid value. Otherwise, invalid value. Correct? Now write the select statement. Select. Tell me the syntax. Select star single. Why is star here? Do we need all the fields of this T001 to validate this? We have 84 fields in this. All right. Select single bookers. I just need that field, right? I just need to check whether that value is available in the table or not. From T01 into, I'm defining one variable, or you can, yeah, I'm defining one variable. It's a single value input, right? I am selecting only company code, Booker, single field, right? Where Bookers equal to, is it E underscore? We are not returning Bookers, we are returning sub RC, right? So whatever the sub RC value you received, just pass it to the exporting parameter. E underscore sub RC equal to S5. Whatever the sub RC value I got, I'm just returning it. Yeah, you're right. It's not PI, right? And whatever the sub RC value I got, I'm just returning it. So that when we call the function module in the program, I can check if sub RC equal to 0, then E underscore, not sub RC. If E underscore sub RC equal to 0, that is a valid function group. Otherwise, invalid function group. Sorry, company code, right? Now let's test how it is going to work. Check the syntax, activate. Now check this thing. Test this function module by entering some value. I think there is a company code 100. Execute. What we got? Sub RC4. So there is no company code 100, it seems. Let's try SAP. Check here. Check here in the master table. What are the company codes available? So it seems 100 is not available. So these are the available company codes. For example, check 04. 04, what should be the sub RC value? E sub RC, E sub RC equal to 0. That means, so it is a valid company code, right? So it is just a return parameter. We are returning the output, right? Using the C underscore sub RC parameter. If you want one more, or if you want to any alternative for this, what is the alternative? For example, I can do like this: E underscore bookers type. This is the alternative. We don't need to use both. Okay. In source code, I will keep it independent. Okay. I don't, I'm not going to use sub RC check for this thing, because whatever the sub RC value I got, I just need to return. Okay. If C equal to 0, what I'll do? I'll pass LV underscore bookers to E underscore bookers. Right? This is the alternative way. Okay. You don't need to use two exporting parameters here, but I'm just, let's test the function module. Enter 100, which is an invalid company code. Execute. Sub RC equal to 4. And what is E underscore bookers? Empty. Right? No value. That means it is not a valid company code. Let's try E04. Now sub RC equal to 0, and we have a value in exporting parameter E underscore company code. Correct? Now this is a valid company code, we can say. Right? So our first requirement is completed or not? So we have a function module to validate the company code. What is the next one? What is the next one? Selection of purchase order data. Now what is the input for this? To the selection of purchase order data. What is the input in our program? Company code, right? Yeah. So the second function module should accept a company code as input and return the output, right? Output in the sense, are we going to have a single record for each company code or multiple PO records? We are going to have multiple PO records. Then what is our input? Company code, single value input. What is our output? What the function module should return? Internal table data, right? Not the single record. Internal table data, right? Correct? And we don't need all the fields of the PO tables. We need only selected fields, right? Few fields from EKKO, few fields from EKPO, and few fields from MAKT table for a material text, right? We need only selected fields from different tables. Now how we are going to do that? We need an internal table with selected fields from multiple tables. Correct? Now how we are going to do that? How we are going to group fields from different tables? Yes, we need to create a structure here, because we are not selecting from single table, right? If you are selecting only from EKKO, you can directly provide EKKO, right? But here the scenario is different. We are selecting data from three different tables. So let's create a structure. Go to data type, zdemo underscore s underscore po data. This is my structure name, and you know the difference between structure and table. Create it, select the structure. What are the fields required? I need few fields from EKKO, that is EBLN, type EBLN. I don't remember the next field. A company code. bookers. So these two are enough for now, or we can also take date. Go and check the data in EKKO. So AEDAT type this one. So these three fields from EKKO, and from EKPO I need item number EBLP. EBLP, right? Data element is also EBLP. Purchase order item record, and I need material. Okay, that's it for now. And we need material text also, right? We need material text, that is from MAKT. What is the field name? MAKTX. This is from third table. Now these are the fields required from three different tables. Now activate the structure. Now I'm creating a structure, right? It's a separate object, right? So I have selected the actual package. Now tell me in which transport request I have to save. The same transport request we created earlier, because it is part of the same application, right? Same task, right? Clear? Save in the same transport request. Activate the structure. Why we have errors? Okay, looks like we are using incorrect data element. It is correct only. MAKTX. Which one? These data elements are correct, but still that is not allowing here. Don't know why. For now, I'm just changing the data elements. I don't know why these are not allowing here, but they should be allowed. Okay. Since, as I told you earlier, since it's a training system, there might be some issue. Okay, we'll check that. For now, I'm using the direct data element. Material text. So for some reason, the standard data elements for those two types are not allowing here, but they should be allowed. Okay. For now, I'm just taking the direct data types. MAKTX is character 40, that's why I'm taking character 40. AEDAT dates, right? I'm taking the compatible data type only, not the different data type. And activate it. Our structure is ready. Now what we need to do? Go to the function module, create the function module. read PO data, create it. Sorry, again. What is the function group we have to assign? ZMM underscore group. Save. What is the input for our function module? Company code, right? Type company code. And what is our output? PO data, right? So as I told you, I'm not going to use tables because it is obsolete, right? But exporting can handle only single record. Changing also can handle only single record, work area like structures, right? But without using tables, how can we handle internal table data? For that, we need to create a different object, that is table type. In S11, select the data type, provide the table type name. We have already created the structure, right? So the structure is available. If you provide here, for example, I'll take et underscore PO data type. I'll provide the structure name. Now tell me, is this parameter is going to handle single record or multiple records? If I provide the structure name, no, it can handle only single record. Okay, with all the fields included in this structure, whatever the fields available in this structure, it can handle only single record. How can we make it handle as an internal table like structure? Now it is a work area like structure, right? Since this et underscore PO data is a work area like structure, if you provide structure or table reference, even if you provide like this EKKO, it's not going to handle all the records of EKKO or multiple records of EKKO. It can handle only single record, work area like structure, right? Now, how can we make it as a internal table like structure? For that, we need to create which one? Table type. Go to S11, provide the table type name. For example, as a naming convention, I'll just change it as to T, ZDemo T underscore PO data. Create. What is the option you have to select? Table type. Click on continue. Here you can see you need to provide only one input. What is it? Line type. What is the line type? Line type is nothing but your table name, for example, EKKO, or since in our scenario we have created a structure, right, for the with the group of fields, provide the structure name and activate it and activate the table type. Save, save in the package, and which transport request you have to select? The transport request which I've already created for this application. Select the same transport request and activate. Our table type is ready. Then copy the table type and go to the function module, and instead of structure or table name, provide table type name. Now, what type of object it is? This exporting parameter, is it a work area like structure or internal table like structure? Since we assigned the table type, we made it as a internal table like structure. So that is the alternative for table statement. Since tables are obsolete, outdated, don't use it. Go by exporting parameter with table types when you need to handle internal table data. If you need to pass the internal table data as input in exporting parameter, same process. Use a table type reference. Okay, we'll see that in the next session. How can we pass input? Now our importing and exporting parameters are ready, right? So what does this table type contains? Whatever the fields available in a structure. We have 6 fields available in the structure, right? Now write your select statement. Your input is ready and your output is also ready. What we need to write here? Join statement, right? To select the data from multiple tables, or you can also use for all entries. And you need to merge it into a final internal table at the end. Select Do we need to use, yeah, tell me the select statement. We're going to select purchase order records by company code. Tell me the select statement. Yeah, EKKO, EBLN. And what is the next field we need to select? Please follow the same order, whatever we defined in the structure. Okay. Company code, EKKO. What is the next field? AEDAT, EKPO, EBELP. What is the next field? EKPO, Matner, I think. Matner, right? EBLP and Matner. And MAKT, mat text. So these are the fields we are selecting from these three different tables. From left side table EKKO, inner join, on which table? EKPO, on one. What is the join condition? Please mute. There is some static noise. And what next? And we need to join EKPO and MAKT also, right? To get the material text. Inner join MAKT. On what is the join condition? MAKT, sorry, Matner, right? Common field is Matner, right? Between EKPO and MAKT, EKPO, Matner. Into, we'll define one internal table. Do we need an internal table here? Do we need to define a separate internal table here? And where company code equal to what is the importing parameter? I underscore bookers. That's it. Do we need to use a separate internal table here? Tell me. So what is the order of the field? Please observe. EBLN, bookers, ADAT, EBLP, and check with your structure. Are these in the same order or not? Different order. Same order, right? As like a same order as structure, right? We are selecting here. Correct? Are we selecting the same number of fields in the select statement? Whatever we defined in the structure, are we selecting the same number of fields or not? Same, right? Same fields in the same order. Now, do we really need a separate internal table here? We can directly use exporting parameter, because what is this exporting parameter referring to? This structure, right? Same structure, right? Correct? So now, whatever the fields we are selecting, so this exporting parameter also referring to same fields in same order. So instead of using a separate internal table, you can directly select data into this exporting parameter. Correct? Is it true or not? Confusing? Anyone confusing? We are directly selecting data into this exporting parameter. This is because this is referring to the structure which contains same fields in same order. Right? Now tell me, is this select statement correct? Or is there any error? Yeah, into table, that is missing. Right? We may need to use escape sign. Bookers is ambiguous because we are not passing table name EKKO, because Bookers is available in many tables. Check syntax. So at the rate symbol escape sign is missing, right? That's it. We are selecting data into exporting parameter, right, directly. Or if you use, for example, let's say you are using a separate internal table, then how can we handle that? Into table at the rate of data it underscore po data. How can we handle? Is it going to return any output? Is this now? Is this going to return any output when you execute the function module? Is this going to return any output? No, right? Because we are not passing it to the exporting parameter. It will select the data. It will select the data into this internal table, but it won't return any output, right? Then what we need to do? If sy hyphen sub rc equal to 0, what we need to do? Et underscore po data equal to it underscore po data. Are these two structures compatible or not? Whatever this internal table structure and et underscore po data structure, both are same or not? Different? Same, right? Both are same, right? This also contains same fields in the same order, and whatever the internal table, we are using same fields in the same order. Et underscore po data contains structure. We created a structure with the same fields in the same order. Let's check the syntax. So both are compatible. Activate the function module. Let's add something here in between. For example, what should we add? Matner from let's add some a field, new field. Where is our go to ekko? Or we'll add the spras. Okay, we'll add spras in a select statement. Now how it will respond? Do we have that in the structure? Our exporting parameter structure. Check the syntax. Still we are getting no errors. And what it will do now? It will create a internal table with this type, and these both internal tables are not compatible because it underscore po data contains 7 fields. Spras is also there. Does the spras available in exporting parameter? No, right? That is not available in our structure, right? Spras field. Now tell me both are compatible or not. We don't have spras in our structure. Now this one and this one are not compatible. Both are not in the same order, right? At the time, you cannot use this assignment like this. Okay? Yeah, now activate it. Please observe here you don't need to define any separate internal table because we are selecting same fields just like the structures in the same order. You can directly use this exporting parameter. Now just check the uh, data, test the function module. I'll provide 04 because that's the valid. Looks like there is no records, PO records for that. Go to EKKO and find one company code which contains some data. SC11 EKKO F7 display, execute it. So what is the company code? 1050 contains data, right? Test the 1050, execute it. We got 165 entries, correct? So this is a internal table like structure. This is ET underscore PO data. Is everyone clear on this? Is everyone clear on this requirement or this function module? Shall we go to the program? Now we'll create a program. Our function modules are ready. Now we'll create the program. SC38 is already available. Yeah, this I think it is employee report. fm underscore po underscore report. Create the program, save. Now I'm creating the package, sorry, program, right? In which transport I have to save? In the same transport request which I have created earlier. Okay, please observe all the objects what I am creating, I am saving in the same transport request. I'm assigning to the same transport request. So create the program. What is the first requirement? I'm not creating any block or something. I'm directly creating parameters p underscore type bookers. So initialization, I'm not passing any default values. If you want, you can implement that. At selection screen, we need to validate. Start of selection. So we need to validate the company code, right? How can you validate the company code? Usual case, you need to write the select statement, right? Select single. First check, do we have any function module available for that functionality without writing separate code. I'll check like this. Usually validate or we're already having a function module. Let's call this function module. So first check what is the input. Input is in exporting. Input is company code, and what it is returning. Here it is returning two values. One is sub RC value, other one is bookers. Right? Go to the source code and check. So here these two are alternative statements. Okay, here we need any one functionality would be fine. Okay, either we can go by sub RC value or by company code value. Now go and call your function module in our program. Pattern, provide the function module name. It is by default it is defining some parameters or sorry, data objects, right? You can make use of these data objects if you want. Enable them, uncomment, and keep them at the top if you want. Okay. Now, what is the input for this? P underscore bookers, right? That is the parameter. And what is the output? Just enable them. If these are not available, what you have to do? You have to create these variables. You have to define these variables. Okay? You have to define these variables. Now, how can we validate? We are passing the company code and it should return sub RC or bookers, right? I'll validate like this. If E underscore sub RC is not equal to 0. What does that mean? What does that mean? Not equal to 0. This I'm not checking sy sub rc. It is e underscore sub rc exporting parameter. If e underscore sub rc is not equal to 0, what does that mean? Invalid company code, right? Or what is the alternative for this? If e underscore bookers is initial, if that is empty, what does that mean? Whatever the company code we are providing to the function module is invalid. That is not a valid company code. Clear? Now our validation part is completed. What is the next part? Select the data, right? Selecting the data, right? This is the function module to select the PO data. What is the input for this function module? Company code value. What is the output? PO data. PO data, is it are we returning a single record or multiple records as output? Just check here. Is it a structure or table type? Double click on it. Oh, it is a table type. Okay, then I can know that It is not a single record. It's an internal table like structure since I am using table type. If it is a structure, that can return only a single record. Structure or table for both. Now call the function module for business logic. Now let's assume it is not passing any default data declarations. So now what we need to pass here for I underscore bookers is parameter p underscore bookers. What about the importing? What it is returning? Internal table data, right? For this we need one internal table, right? Shall we define the internal table? Data it underscore po data type. What is the type I have to take here? What is the type I have to take here? Type. What is the type we are using in function module? Use the same type. Now tell me, what is this? What is this object? Zdemo t underscore po data. What is this object? It's a table type, right? Now tell me, what is this it underscore po data? Am I using type table of or type standard table of here for internal table declaration? No, right? What I am using here, I am using table type. Now tell me, is this it underscore po data, is it a table or work area? When you are using table type, when you are directly using table type in the declaration, it will act as an internal table. You don't need to use type standard table of. Still it acts as a internal table, right? But if you are using that structure, whatever the line type we are using in it, double click on the table type. If we are using the structure, now tell me, is it a internal table or work area? It underscore po data. It is a work area now. If we use it, that doesn't mean that it's going to be internal table. Whatever the reference type we are going to use, that decides is it an internal table or work area, right? So we'll use structure name, then type standard table of ZDemo PO data. If you are using table type like this, data it underscore PO data type T. Now both are internal tables. Now or use one. Okay. Now both are internal tables, but how we are defining is different. In the first statement we are using structure name. In the second statement we are using table type, right? That's the difference you have to observe. When you are using table type, you don't need to use a type standard table of. It's going to be internal table. Now I'm commenting one and pass the internal table to here to return the output. Now what we need to do? If it underscore po data is not initial, what we need to do? Display the output. If it is not initial, we need to display the output. Demo underscore output. Dis else else means what? If it is initial, if it is empty, if there is no data for that company code available, there is no data available for that company code, then what is the message we need to raise? No data available. Is it error message, information message, status message? What type of message it is? Observe the scenario. Observe the scenario. It's a information or status message I'll raise. It's not a error. It's not a error. Tell me, why I'm saying if there is no data for company code, is that error? If there is no purchase order data for that company code, that is not a error. There is no data available. Okay, no purchase orders created for that company code. But is it a valid company code or not? It is a valid company code, but there is no purchase order data associated for that company code. Correct? Clear? That is still a valid company code. Whatever the company code we are passing here, that is still a valid company code. That means it is available in check table, but there is no purchase order records created for that company code. That's why there is no data selected. That is not an error, right? Correct? Yeah, that's why I'm raising status message. Now our program is ready. Can you see any select statements or if any statements in the program? Can you see any statements related to business logic or validations in the program? No, right? There is no select statements, there is no loop statement, there is no read statements in the main program, right? You can only see some function calls, correct? So your program should be like this when you are creating in the project. You should not see any data selections, loop statements, or any conditions in the main program. You should modularize it using different approaches like function modules or class methods, right? Now our application is ready. What is the next step? Test it. Okay, let's add text elements, company code. My program is ready, my application is ready. So I'll do some unit testing now. So 04 is a valid company code, I believe. Yes, 04 is there in the check table. Execute. Is there any data? No data available messages are returned. I think there is a typo. Let's try another company code 1050. That is available. Execute. We got the output, right? We got the data, right? Clear? Let's enter some random company code and execute. What it is saying? It is validating the company code and rising invalid company code error. Let's debug this. So I've just entered some random value and execute. I kept the breakpoint at that selection screen. Now if I click on F6, what will happen? If I click on F6 or this button, it will execute all the function module in single step and provide the return the output. If I click on F5, it will go inside the function module. So what is the input I am passing to the function module? Company code, right? I'm pressing F5. I underscore booker should contain the company code. Double click on this. F5, I'm executing the select statement. What is the sub RC? 4. If sub RC equal to 0, then we are returning that value to E underscore bookers. That's why it's not going to E underscore bookers. It will be empty. E underscore bookers will be empty. And I'm passing whatever the sub RC value I got, I'm passing it to the exporting parameter. Now, E underscore sub RC will be 4, right? F7, I'm doing this validation and it's going to raise the error. Let's enter correct company code. Execute. I'm clicking on F6. It will complete the function module execution in single step. So what is the E underscore bookers value? 1050. it has a value, right? Then it's a valid company code, and E underscore sub RC equal to 0. Then F6, F6. Now it entered into our business logic. We are passing company code and we are returning data as output. Correct? And if it is not initial means if there are some records and display the output. That's it. Right? In projects, there might be 5-6 tables to join. There might be 20 or 30 fields to be selected. Right? But the approach or design would be similar. Okay? Or in some for some applications we may need to create 5 or 6 function modules for modularization. Okay, clear? Yeah, that's it for today's session. So please practice and create a similar program, okay, by using these function modules for validations and data selections.